Thank you for your testimony. We'll now proceed to the question and answer session, and I'll start with myself. Commissioner Bisignano, Social Security is entrusted with some of the most personal data of virtually every American. There's been a lot of reporting and speculation about inappropriate access of personal data by DOJ and others, which have caused my constituents concerned about whether their personal data is being protected at the Social Security Administration. What can you tell me about the protections that are in place at the SSA, and what can you tell my constituents about how you're handling that data that they have entrusted to you as head of the SSA? Is their data safe?
Our data is safe. Social Security has always had a high level of security over PII, and I've overviewed it. I'd like to say I spent my career protecting PII in the largest financial institutions. And so we have very strong protocols on access to it and very tight security around it. I feel very, very comfortable that our PII is protected well.
Well, thank you very much, because people are concerned about their personal identification and personal identified information, or PII, and appreciate your response and oversight for that. Since the start of the administration, there have been reports of field office closures and other unverifiable claims that the SSA is purposely closing offices customers need to be able to access. Can you set the record straight today? Have any field offices closed since the beginning of the Trump administration?
I think factually, there was one field office that was moved because of problem with a landlord, and there were 21 conference hearing rooms that were handed back to GSA because we do virtual conferences in our disability hearings, and they hadn't been used in 2 years. There were not field office closures. There were no, and field offices will remain forever. It's a way many people want to come see us, and we're going to be there. You know, not everybody has broadband. Not everybody has the technology required, although, you know, over 90% of our constituents, it appears, does. But field offices will be here forever.
Well, great. Thank you for that. The SSA Office of the Inspector General recently completed an audit of the failed Next Generation Telephony Project, or NGTP, where they found that the SSA spent more than $160 million to build a new phone system that was only used for 10 months before being abandoned. Not only did that failed investment lead to a waste of tens of millions of dollars from the taxpayers, but it also resulted in worse service than the old system it was intended to replace when it was in use. What lessons has SSA learned from this failed contract? Well,
once a week, I meet and our chief financial officer and a couple other members, our head of budget, on any procurement that we're going to make for more than $250,000. And a lot of times those people have to go back because they haven't been thought through well enough. We're building a discipline in the agency of every dollar matters. And a contract of that size and scale should never have that problem because it needs to be owned at the top. And we're trying to set a tone at the top about we're going to pay attention to every detail, we're going to get it right, and we're going to deliver in every aspect of the business, sir.
Well, thank you. Yeah, as you pointed out, good contract management, good vendor management is so important in having successful contracts and arrangements. I just want to highlight that this is a Republican and a Democrat bipartisan concern about the topic. So as you continue to work with OIG and Congress to help prevent future contracting mismanagements.
Yeah, I would say we've also implemented another thing that we've never done before, which is to meet regularly with OIG on their recommendations, reconcile where we are on those recommendations, and making sure that we're in complete agreement. We actually learned in the process of going through all of OIG's that in their last report, there's probably 100 items that we're still going back and forth on. So having a good relationship with the IG is very important, and us working hand in hand, and those things had never been done before.
Well, great, thank you. Before I recognize Mr. Neal for his questions, I want to provide another example of how your emphasis on expanding online service and providing common sense solution is resulting in real improvements to service. Without objection, I'd like to enter into the record a letter from the National Organization of Social Security Claimants Representatives that recounts how a new online secure portal that provides claimants and their representatives with basic data on the status of their claims, which has likely reduced calls from claimant representatives to the SSA by more than 30,000 per month. That's 30,000 more calls from our constituents that can now be answered because of this solution. Without objection, I'll enter this into the record. And now I'd like to recognize the ranking member of the Ways and Means Committee, Mr. Neal, for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.